Before we begin, take one slow breath and place your hand gently on your heart. Because today, we explore a truth the Buddha revealed. A truth that feels almost impossible to accept at first, but becomes incredibly freeing once it lands inside your heart. Here is the question. Why do people hurt us? Why do their words, their actions, their silence stay in our mind far longer than the moment itself? You may think the pain came from what they did, from what they said, from how they abandoned you, misunderstood you, judged you, or treated you as if your feelings did not matter. But the Buddha taught something astonishing. He said, "The blow of another cannot harm you, as much as your own mind clinging to it." Pause for a moment. Let those words reach you, because this is not just philosophy. This is the exact turning point, where suffering begins, and where suffering can finally end. Let's begin with the first truth. When someone hurts you, your mind does something quietly, almost instantly, almost invisibly. It repeats the story again and again and again. The moment becomes a memory. The memory becomes a belief, and the belief becomes a wound that you carry far longer than the original event. And the Buddha said, the second pain is always created by the mind, not by the person who hurt you. The first pain is what happened. The second pain is the story your mind builds around it. And it is the second pain that destroys your peace. If you are here right now, it is probably because someone hurt you recently. Someone said something unfair. Someone made you feel small. Someone betrayed the trust you thought you could rely on. Someone treated your kindness as weakness, and you are still holding the weight of it. But here is the truth. The Buddha never taught you to suppress the pain. He never asked you to pretend it didn't matter. He never said you must forgive instantly, or act as if hurt should not hurt. What he said was this: do not let the behavior of others shape the landscape of your inner world. Meaning, whatever someone did belongs to their mind, their karma, their level of awareness, not yours. Let this sink in deeply. People hurt others because they are suffering. People speak harshly because their hearts are heavy. People judge quickly because they cannot see clearly. People blame because they cannot carry their own pain. And sometimes, you became the closest place for their suffering to spill over. It was not your fault. It was simply your presence in the path of their unhealed mind. At this point in the video, first 1 minute mark, many viewers start wondering, so what should I do with the pain I still carry? So let me speak to you directly. You are not weak because you were hurt. You are human. Your heart reacts because it is alive, because it feels, because it cares. The Buddha's wisdom is not to make you emotionless, but to help you step out of the unnecessary suffering. Your mind keeps recreating a moment of clarity. Think of the person who hurt you. You don't need to forgive. You don't need to forget. You don't need to force peace. Just acknowledge this truth. Their action came from their suffering, but the continuation of my suffering comes from my mind. This is the doorway. This is the beginning. This is where transformation starts. Let your shoulders soften and allow one thought to rise gently inside you. Maybe the pain I carry is ready to be understood instead of repeated. When you are ready, we continue. As we continue, take one gentle breath and notice how your heart feels in this moment. Because in this part, we enter one of the most misunderstood teachings of the Buddha, a teaching that does not blame you, does not justify what others did, but frees you from a wound that was never yours to keep. The Buddha's second truth about hurt is this: you suffer not because someone harmed you, but because your mind refuses to let go of the harm. This does not mean the harm was acceptable. It means your heart deserves freedom, far more than your mind deserves to replay the story. So let us go deeper. step by step. Imagine this scene. A person says something cruel to you. Maybe yesterday, maybe months ago, maybe years ago. Their words lasted 5 seconds, but your mind has carried it for 5 days, 5 months, or even 5 years. This is where the Buddha's wisdom enters gently and asks a powerful question. Why does the mind hold the arrow long after the bow is gone? Silence follows this question, because the answer is not simple. It is emotional. It is personal. We hold the arrow because the mind believes that remembering the pain protects us from future pain. But the truth is the opposite. The more we hold on to the arrow, the deeper it pierces us. Let's pause here for a moment. If someone comes to your mind right now, a person you still feel hurt by, do not push the feeling away. Bring it gently to the surface, not to suffer, but to understand. Because understanding is the moment suffering dissolves. The Buddha taught 3 layers of pain. 1. The pain of the event. What happened? What was said? What was done? This pain is real, but it is short, like a cloud passing across the sky. 2. The pain of interpretation. What did they mean? Why would they do this? Is something wrong with me? This pain comes from the mind, not from the person. 3. The pain of identity. This happened to me. I was the victim. I'm not enough. I must protect myself. This is the deepest suffering, because the mind builds a story and begins to live inside it. But the Buddha revealed something transformative. When you release the story, the wound loses its power. Let us explore this slowly. Not all hurt is equal, but all hurt follows the same root. The mind believes it has been attacked, so it wraps itself in memory, in self-protection, in fear. But the Buddha said that most of what we feel is not the original wound, but the mind reopening it repeatedly, like pressing on a bruise, thinking it will heal faster, when in truth, you only deepen the tenderness. Now, let's talk about the person who hurt you, not to judge them, but to understand the law of cause and effect, the law that governs all actions. The Buddha said, a person who harms another is a person whose own mind is burning, meaning they acted from confusion, from ignorance, from their own inner storm. A peaceful mind does not hurt others. A compassionate heart does not wound others. A clear mind does not speak cruelty. So their action was never about your worth. It was about their suffering. At the 3-minute emotional mark of this journey, your mind might whisper, but it still hurts. But I still feel the pain. And that is completely human, because the heart does not heal, just because the mind understands. But here is the beginning of healing. You stop taking their behavior as a reflection of your value. You stop carrying their darkness as if it were your own. You stop believing that you were hurt because you were weak. The Buddha reminded his disciples, you were not wounded because you were unworthy. You were wounded because another was unwise. Let this truth settle deep in your chest. Now gently ask yourself, is the pain I feel now coming from the past moment, or from my mind replaying it? Is the person still hurting me, or am I echoing the hurt inside myself? Is the wound open because of what happened, or because I have not learned to close it? These are not easy questions, but they open the path to liberation. Before we move into part 3, place your hand on your heart once more and whisper inside, what someone else did is not who I am, and not what I must continue to feel. When you are ready, I will guide you deeper. Take another slow breath. Feel the air entering your chest and gently leaving your body, because now we enter one of the most healing and most challenging teachings the Buddha gave, a teaching about why the mind continues to suffer. long after someone has hurt us, and how to gently loosen the grip that pain has on our heart. The Buddha's third truth is simple, yet difficult to face. You cannot control how others act, but you can choose what you hold within you. A person's action is theirs. Your suffering is created when your heart carries what their mind produced. This is the separation. This is the boundary. This is the freedom. Let the meaning settle slowly, like dust floating through a sunbeam. Why the mind refuses to let go. When someone hurts you, your mind does something subtle. It believes that remembering the pain keeps you safe, protects you, guards your heart from being hurt again. So it replays and replays and replays, not because it wants you to suffer, but because it is trying to protect you in the only way it knows how. But the Buddha said, by holding the burning coal, you burn only yourself. The mind thinks the coal will someday become useful, yet it only scorches the hand that refuses to release it. Pause. Feel this image. Holding a burning coal, waiting for the other person to feel the heat. This is what attachment to hurt truly is. At this stage, around the 5-minute depth, your heart may feel heavy, your eyes may soften, your breath may deepen. That is not sadness. That is recognition. Your inner wisdom awakening to a truth you have always known, but never had words for. So listen closely. The Buddha taught that pain is not the problem. Pain is natural. Pain is part of being alive. Pain is part of loving. The real problem is the story the mind builds around the pain. This means they don't respect me. This means I'm not enough. This means I'm alone. This means I should protect myself forever. These stories become walls. Hard, tall, heavy walls, built slowly. Brick by brick. Memory by memory. Fear by fear. But the Buddha said, no one imprisons you more than your own mind. And when you understand this, your first doorway to freedom appears. Let's reflect gently. Think of the person who hurt you, not to blame them, not to relive the wound, not to reopen what has begun to heal. Simply observe what rises in your heart when their face or their voice or that moment appears in your mind. Is it anger? Is it disappointment? Is it sadness? Is it confusion? Is it longing for something they could never give? All of these emotions are part of the human experience. None of them make you weak. None of them make you wrong. The Buddha never said, do not feel. He said, do not cling. Feel the emotion, but do not become the emotion. Let it pass, like clouds drifting across an open sky. The truth hidden inside every hurt. A person who hurts you does not take your peace. Your mind gives it to them. A person who lies to you does not steal your worth. Your mind forgets it. A person who abandons you does not remove your value. Your mind questions it. This is why the Buddha said, the greatest suffering we experience is not caused by others, but by the meaning we attach to their actions. So let us explore that meaning with tenderness. A powerful shift happens here. Imagine looking at the person who hurt you, not with anger, not with blame, not with desire for revenge, but with clarity. A clarity that says, your action came from your pain, but my reaction will come from my wisdom. This is strength. This is spiritual maturity. This is the beginning of liberation. It is not forgiveness. It is not reconciliation. It is not forgetting. It is simply choosing not to be shaped by another person's confusion. Let your breath guide you for a moment. Inhale gently. Exhale softly. Allow your shoulders to loosen and your jaw to relax, because you are stepping into a truth that frees millions of hearts, a truth that will soon free yours. The Buddha offered a teaching for this exact moment. Hatred does not cease by hatred, but by understanding. Understanding does not, understanding simply, you stop internalizing what was never yours to carry. As part 3 closes, bring one hand to your heart and whisper inside. Their action is their karma. My healing is mine. This is the path. We continue deeper. We continue gently. We continue together. When you are ready, I will guide you into part 4. Before we step deeper, place your hand once more on your heart and take one slow breath. Because in this part, we explore a teaching that changes everything. A teaching that the Buddha repeated many times because he knew. The human heart breaks easily and heals slowly, but even the slowest healing begins the moment you see truth clearly. The Buddha's 4th truth was this: people do not hurt you because you deserve pain. They hurt you because they do not know themselves. Let the meaning settle. Let it echo gently inside you. A person's harsh words, their disrespect, their betrayal, their anger, their coldness, their dishonesty are not reflections of your worth. They are reflections of their wounds. Just as a trembling hand cannot hold still water, an unhealed heart cannot hold another gently. Let's imagine a different perspective. Imagine a person drowning in the ocean. They flail. They panic. They reach for anything, not to hurt it, but to keep themselves above water. Sometimes that anything is another person. You, not because you caused their pain, but because you were near, because you were close, because you were available. People who are emotionally drowning will sometimes pull others into their chaos, not out of cruelty, but out of unconscious desperation. This does not excuse their behavior, but it explains it. And understanding this is the beginning of release. Take a gentle moment here. Close your eyes for a breath and let this truth wash through you. Their wounds touched me, but their wounds are not mine. Repeat it softly. Feel it in your chest. Feel your shoulders loosen, because up until now, you may have believed that their treatment of you defined you, shaped you, described you. But the Buddha said, what others say of you belongs to them, not you. Never you. Now, let's explore a deeper layer. The Buddha often taught through analogy, because the heart understands pictures far more deeply than explanations. He said, when someone throws dust into the wind, it returns upon them, meaning their anger, their lies, their cruelty, their jealousy, their manipulation, their disrespect, all return to their life, not yours. Because karma grows where the action began. When someone hurts you, they plant a seed, not in your life, but in theirs. You are not the soil for their karma. You are only the witness. And this realization frees you from carrying what never belonged to you. Now pause and breathe. You may feel something shifting right now, something loosening, something gently releasing. This is good. This is natural. This is the unfolding of a quieter, wiser heart. Because the Buddha taught that understanding breaks chains more effectively than anger ever will. Anger tightens the knot. Understanding loosens it. Clarity dissolves it. Let's go even deeper. People hurt others because they are unaware of their own mind, their impulses, their wounds, their fears, their ignorance. The Buddha said, an untrained mind harms the one who holds it. and those who stand near it. Meaning, you were simply standing near someone whose mind was not awake, not aware, not gentle, not healed. Does this make their action right? No. But it makes something else clear. It was never about your value. It was about their suffering. And when you stop taking their suffering personally, your heart finally begins to breathe again. Here, at this emotional turning point, let your breath slow. Allow your body to soften and repeat quietly within yourself. What they did reflects their pain. What I release reflects my wisdom. This is not forgiveness. This is clarity. This is ownership of your inner world. You are not responsible for the storms that live in another person's heart, but you are responsible for not letting their storm become your climate. Now, a very important realization. Sometimes the person who hurt you did not know they hurt you. Sometimes they acted unconsciously. Sometimes they acted from habit. Sometimes they acted from their past, not from the present. Because most people are not intentionally cruel. They are simply unaware. As the Buddha said, ignorance is the root of all suffering. Their ignorance injured you, but your awareness will free you. As part 4 gently closes, feel your heart becoming lighter, even by 1 degree. Growth is slow, but it is real. Place your hand once again over your heart and whisper this sincerity-filled truth. I release what is not mine, so I may return to who I am. When you are ready, I will guide you deeper into part. Before we begin, take 1 gentle breath in and let your heart soften just a little, as if it is opening a small window to the morning light. Because this part is where the Buddha asks us not to look at the person who hurt us, but to look kindly at the one who was hurt, ourselves. And this is where the real liberation begins. The Buddha once said, pain arises only once, but suffering repeats it. Let this sink into your chest, slowly, softly. Someone hurt you, perhaps with words, perhaps with silence, perhaps with betrayal, perhaps with indifference. That moment was painful. Yes, it left a mark. Yes, but what keeps hurting you now is not the moment. It is the memory, the holding, the repeating, the retelling, the reliving. It is the echo, not the event. Pause here for a breath. Let your mind become still for 1 moment. Now ask gently, what am I still holding? Not as a blame, not as judgment, but as a soft curiosity, as a compassionate witness. Because the Buddha said, suffering persists because the mind grips. It grips the image. It grips the words. It grips the fear. It grips the story. And sometimes, you are not holding the memory. The memory is holding you. Let's explore this with compassion. When someone hurts you, your heart does not only feel the wound, it forms a story around it. A story like, they should not have treated me this way. I must not be worthy. I should have protected myself better. Maybe I deserved it. These stories wrap around the wound, like layers and layers of fabric. And soon, the wound is no longer what hurts. The story is, the Buddha taught, the story the mind creates is the rope that binds it. What binds you is not the moment, but the meaning. You attached to the moment. Now breathe softly. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw relax. As we go deeper, because the Buddha invited us to look at our pain as we would look at a small child crying in the corner of a quiet room. We do not shout at the child. We do not force it to be quiet. We sit beside it. We listen. Likewise, Our pain softens only when we sit beside it, instead of running from it. A very powerful perspective shift. The Buddha taught, your pain is not asking for punishment. It is asking for understanding. That tightness in your chest, that heaviness in your stomach, that trembling in your heart, that lingering sadness. They are not signs that you are weak. They are signs that something inside you is asking to be acknowledged, not fixed, not erased, just seen. Because what the heart hides, the heart continues to carry. Here is a simple truth. People hurt you once, but the mind, if left untrained, hurts you 1,000 times. This is why the Buddha insisted, again and again, train the mind, and suffering dissolves. Not because the world becomes kinder, not because people change, but because your mind stops echoing pain. Let us deepen this realization. Place your hand on your heart and say quietly inside, I see you, I hear you. I am here with you. This inner acknowledgement is something most people never give themselves. They give compassion outward, but not inward. The Buddha said, one who does not hold compassion for oneself cannot hold it for another. So this moment, this breath, this gentle inward turning is not a small thing. It is the beginning of true inner peace. Now we explore why the pain stays. Not because the person still has power, not because the wound is still open, not because you are weak, but because the heart, when deeply hurt, closes around the memory, as if holding on to it will somehow protect you from future harm. The heart does this, not out of foolishness, but out of survival. But the Buddha reminds us, what you cling to is what continues. Hold the wound, and the wound stays. Hold the story, and the story grows. Hold the anger, and the anger becomes your companion. Release, and the sky opens. Now breathe deeply, slowly, as though breathing fresh air into a room long closed. Let this truth enter. I am not the pain. I am the awareness watching it. This is the turning point, the great shift, the moment your suffering loses its power, because pain lives in the mind, but freedom lives in awareness. You cannot stop people from hurting you, but you can stop carrying what they left behind. As part 5 concludes, feel the space inside your chest, just a little wider. A sense of softness, a sense of gentleness, a sense of possibility. Whisper slowly to yourself, I release what no longer serves me. When you are ready, I will guide you into part 6, where you learn how to truly let go and step into the freedom the Buddha spoke of. Take a slow, gentle breath, as if you were letting your entire chest melt into softness. Because in this part, we enter the heart of the Buddha's teaching on how to truly release the pain others brought into your life, not by forcing, not by pretending, not by forgetting, but by understanding, by seeing, and by letting the grip loosen on its own. The Buddha said, what you hold holds you. What you release frees you. This is the doorway to the liberation you have been seeking for so long. So let us walk through it, slowly, mindfully. First, understand this. Letting go is not forgiveness. Letting go is not acceptance of wrongdoing. Letting go is not approval. Letting go simply means you stop carrying what is too heavy. You stop holding the burning coal. You stop drinking the poison meant for someone else. You stop living inside the wound, because you finally understand that the wound was only the beginning, not your destiny. Pause for a breath. Let your mind settle, like a lake with no ripples, and ask gently, what part of this pain am I still gripping? It might be the memory. It might be the unfairness. It might be the betrayal. It might be the humiliation. It might be the unanswered questions. Letting go begins by simply recognizing what you still cling to. Recognition softens. Awareness melts the chain. The Buddha taught a profound truth. You do not let go by pushing away. You let go by seeing clearly. Because only when you see that the wound no longer serves you, that the story no longer defines you, that the memory no longer protects you, does the heart naturally loosen. When the mind sees the truth, releasing becomes effortless. Like unclenching a fist you didn't even know was tight. Here is a powerful visualization. Sit quietly inside yourself for a moment. Imagine the person who hurt you, standing far away on an empty path, not as an enemy, not as a monster, but as a human being, with their own pain, their own confusion, their own blindness. The Buddha said, "Those who harm are themselves suffering." This doesn't excuse their actions, but it explains their inner world. People act from the level of awareness they have, and some people simply do not have enough awareness, not to hurt others. So you can put down the heavy expectation that they should have been someone they were never capable of being. Now breathe softly and imagine this scene expanding. The path is wide. The air is open. You are standing there, holding a heavy stone, the stone of anger, of resentment, of sadness, of disappointment. This stone has shape, weight, temperature. Feel it. Feel how your arm is tired. Feel how your shoulder aches. And now hear the Buddha's words, echoing gently. When you loosen your grip, the stone falls on its own. Let your fingers relax. Let the stone drop. Let the sound of it hitting the earth be the sign that your heart is ready for freedom. Pause for another breath. Feel how your hand feels now, lighter, warmer, relieved. This is what letting go feels like. Not dramatic, not forced, just quieter, softer, emptier in the best way. But here is the deeper truth. Letting go does not happen once. It happens many times. Sometimes every day. Sometimes every hour. And that is okay. Because each time you release, the weight becomes smaller. The story becomes softer. The wound becomes a memory instead of a prison. The Buddha said, "A wound is healed, not by the passing of time, but by the opening of the heart." Your heart is opening right now. This very moment. Let's explore a transformative perspective. People believe letting go means losing something, but the Buddha taught that letting go is actually gaining. You gain peace. You gain space. You gain clarity. You gain freedom. Letting go is not losing. It is winning back your life. Now, place a gentle hand on your heart and whisper inwardly, "I choose peace over pain. I choose freedom over memory. I choose myself over my wound." These are not affirmations. These are directions. They guide the mind toward liberation. The Buddha's final reminder: you cannot change the one who hurt you, but you can free the one they hurt. That one is you. That child inside you, that younger self, that wounded heart. Letting go is the moment you finally choose to take them back into your arms. As part 6 closes, feel the soft spaciousness opening inside your chest. Feel the relief, the quiet, the stillness. This is not the end, but the beginning of your inner liberation. Now, when you're ready, we will enter part 7, where the Buddha teaches how to transform the pain into wisdom and compassion. Close your eyes for a brief moment and feel the quiet space inside your chest, a space that has been slowly opening with every breath, with every insight, with every letting go. Because now you are ready for the final step, the step where pain does not simply disappear, but transforms into something higher, something wiser, something deeply human and deeply sacred. The Buddha taught, from understanding comes compassion. From compassion comes freedom. Pain is not the end. Pain is the doorway, the beginning. The path toward a softer and awakened heart. Today, your heart begins that transformation. First, look back gently, not with regret, not with sorrow, but with clarity. Everything that hurt you shaped you. Every disappointment made you stronger. Every heartbreak opened a hidden chamber in your heart that you never knew existed. You are not merely someone who survived pain. You are someone who learned from it. This alone is the beginning of wisdom. Pause and breathe slowly. Feel the air enter your body, as if it is washing the corners of your mind. And ask yourself, what did this pain teach me? Every pain is a teacher. Every wound has a lesson. Every tear holds a truth. Maybe it taught you patience. Maybe it taught you boundaries. Maybe it taught you who you can trust. Maybe it taught you where you abandon yourself. Maybe it taught you your own strength. Whatever it taught you, that is your wisdom now, and no one can take it away. The Buddha said, your suffering is your greatest teacher. When your heart is open, pain without awareness creates bitterness. Pain with awareness creates wisdom. And you, right now, are choosing the second path. Now let us go deeper. Imagine the pain you carried as a dark stone that once felt heavy, cold, sharp. But as your awareness grows, as your heart softens, the stone begins to warm, begins to smooth, begins to change. Eventually, it becomes a jewel, a polished piece of truth, shaped by your courage and your willingness to face your own heart. This is the transformation the Buddha spoke of. A wound becoming wisdom, a scar becoming strength. You are no longer defined by what hurt you. You are defined by what you became after the hurting. Take another breath and notice how your chest feels now. There is more space, more peace, more softness. This feeling is the birth of compassion. Not compassion for the person who harmed you, but compassion for yourself, for your journey, for the map of experiences that made you who you are. The Buddha offered a profound insight. Compassion is not acceptance of wrongdoing. Compassion is understanding of suffering. Compassion does not mean you must welcome those who hurt you, or trust them again, or pretend nothing happened. Compassion simply means you understand. They too were shaped by their own wounds, their own blindness, their own unawareness. And with that understanding, the anger loses its fire. The resentment loses its grip. The memory loses its weight. This is the freedom when compassion blooms. Now place a gentle hand over your heart. Feel the warmth beneath your palm and whisper inwardly, my pain has not broken me. My pain has awakened me. Let these words sink into the deepest layer of your being, because the truth is, you are stronger than the one who hurt you, wiser than the moment that wounded you. You have become someone who can see clearly, feel deeply, and still choose peace. This is the essence of spiritual maturity. Final, deep reflection. Ask yourself, if I am no longer defined by my pain, who am I becoming now? You are becoming someone capable of forgiveness, not because others deserve it, but because your soul deserves rest. Someone capable of compassion, because you know what suffering feels like. Someone capable of wisdom, because you touched the truth within your own heart. You are becoming someone the world desperately needs. A person who understands suffering and chooses peace anyway. As part 7 closes, feel the transformation inside you. The shift from resistance to acceptance, from tension to release, from pain to compassion, from still wisdom. This is the path the Buddha spoke of, a path not away from suffering, but through it, beyond it, above it. You are walking that path now, with clarity, with courage, with a heart that is slowly and beautifully awakening. When you are ready, you may end this meditation gently, carrying the wisdom with you.